Have you ever seen your drawing and feel like some proportions are wrong? Would you like to modify the pose of your character? Well, now it's possible with the new tool of Clip Studio Paint, Puppet Warp, because it allows you to create meshes over images to dynamically deform them, such as stretching, compressing, or twisting parts of your final drawing. Another useful application of this tool is creating 2D VFX. Instead of drawing each frame manually as in traditional animation, you can move, rotate, or scale to generate fluid animations. This reduces the amount of work time animating, art resources needed, and optimizes one single drawing to create each frame, creating a more natural or even pseudo 2D effect for your animations. To begin this tutorial, we must know that the Puppet Warp tool works in multiple layers. So, in this case, my drawing is composed of the line art and color layer. Remember to keep all your layers selected, then go to Edit, Transform, Puppet Warp. You will notice that a mesh of triangles that covers the drawing has been created. In case that the mesh doesn't allow you to visualize your drawing well, you can occult the mesh in the tool property. In this menu, you also have Expansion, which allows to increase the outline. This is useful if the mesh doesn't select some small details. Keep Original Image is disabled by default because it just creates the same image in the back of the drawing, leaving the new one in the front. Click Pin has two options. Select Pin adds pins by clicking on the mesh. As you can see, if you add one single pin, it will move the complete drawing. So, in this step, you have to add pins in the main articulations of a human body. The second option, Delete Pin, is the opposite. You remove the pins by clicking on them. If you keep a click on the center of the pin and move around, you will distort the drawing on the position you're moving. This works because of the articulations we established, and these pins are delimiting the flow of the position of the elbow. A very important tip for adjusting the pose: the more pins you add, the more you'll limit the flow to avoid distortions on unnecessary areas. For example, moving your hand will affect the movement of your entire arm and a small portion of your elbow. These pins are blocking the flow, and now the parts feel more fluid and separated. This advice is important, because at adjusting hair, the face will suffer distortion too. So, you need to open the Subtool Detail window. Then, go to Mesh Pins and change the mesh density from Standard to High. These pins act like a barrier to maintain the face intact, with less deformations. The Puppet Warp tool works on specific areas with any selection, but it gets separated from the entire drawing. So, you can add pins like a glue to keep it attached to the drawing. If we take a look at the tool property, we have Select Pin tab with 4 options. New Selection, by default. Add to Selection is to deformate more than one pin at the same time. Your selected pins will be in red. If you want to remove one from a group of pins, you have the third option to do it. Finally, you can toggle the selection in the fourth option. Whenever the articulations interpose the drawing, you can establish an order for the articulation to be in front or back. With the Subtool Detail window, Mesh or Pins, we have Order. This works with the dynamic of layers. If you click on a pin and choose the first option, it will send it to very front. The second one, it will send it only one layer in the front. The third one, it will send it one layer in the back. The last option will send it to the back. As you can see, the line art layer affects the color layer. So, for this type of deformation, I recommend you to merge all the layers that conform your drawing into a single one layer. Now, the deformations work perfectly and look more realistic. Some very important advices for this tool are: if the created mesh covers parts that affect the articulation, you can decrease the expansion. Pins can rotate in order to fix where a character is looking at. By looking at the options Puppet Warp offers to us, we can use them in order to make animations based on 2D VFX. As an animation student, I made this animation for my 3D class, where we have a Greek god in a temple, but there are parts where we can add 2D VFX, such as thunder, sparkles, and power attacks. Remember that Greek mythology has no copyright, but the design must be yours. Based on the principles of animation, I will leave 2 frames in order to create anticipation. Now, I create an animation folder to draw the thunder and start animating. Instead of drawing on the next frame, duplicate the drawing and deformate to replicate the movement of a real thunder. Puppet Walk will save a lot of time animation, because now you just have to deformate one single drawing to animate a whole 2D VFX. At the end, the thunder looks realistic because of the irregular deformations. We got this 2D VFX from one single drawing. As you can see, this process is very easy for 2D VFX with simple movement. To make him look powerful, I will draw sparkles coming out of his eyes. By looking at the process, we can see that it takes time to deformate one single frame, but it's more efficient than redrawing a frame on the whole sequence. The key for a realistic 2D VFX is to animate irregular frames to imitate the movement of sparkles. This sequence is perfect to represent that this Greek god has the power to control thunder. Let's see what the rendered version of this animation looks like. In conclusion, Puppet Warp is a very useful tool with a lot of potential for animation, even if the main use is to correct the pose of your character. I hope that you have liked this tutorial and learned something.